You know who made it. Episode 154 of RickCast begins now. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody have a wonderful weekend. It is now Monday. It is not the best day of the week, but it is now because you're watching RickCast. Whatever that is, it's actually RickCast. But everybody, good evening. Hope everyone is doing a good thing and are having a good time. I don't know why I'm speaking like that, but we got a great show for you to kick off the week. And it seems like right now the Trump administration is doing everything and anything it can to get people's eyes off of Epstein. It is. This is a problem that won't go away. It is becoming a thorn in the side of the Trump administration. Trump seems very pensive about it too. Very much not wanting to dive into it. I know we talked on Friday about Trump saying we're gonna get, we're gonna we're gonna petition the court to release the files, and they did it on Saturday. And I said on Friday, even if they do it, it's gonna take time, which is probably the best thing for them because now they can say, hey, we're putting in the request to the judge for the grand jury testimony, which is not really anything anybody wants. They want the stupid, I bit my tongue, so it's going to be tough for me. They want the stupid names. That's what they want. They don't want jury testimony. They want binders. They want the names. Just give it the names. That's it. And so major L for the Trump administration. They're putting out these 6 months of the Trump administration. Everybody's like, yeah, great. Where's the list? It's becoming the Streisand effect beyond belief at this point. And so now Trump's like, we're going to rename the Washington Commanders back to the Washington Redskins and make the Guardians the Indians again. And everybody's going, yeah, we get it. Okay. Where's the list? That's it. Nothing is working for them. Where's the list, man? Now, we're not talking about it. We'll talk about the MLK file and the fact that they're trying to release that. And we'll kind of mention the fact that it is a cover for the fact that where is the list? Right? Apparently, MAGA at this point is becoming Batman. Like, where's the list? Where's the list? Give me the list. Where is it? That's it. It's going to get more mumbly as they do it in their best Christian Bale. Where's the list? Where is it? Give me the list now. And so we'll see how that goes from there. After that, the head of In-N-Out is leaving California. I think that's a pretty interesting statement that that In-N-Out burger is out of Cali. Of course, they're going to Tennessee because that's where everybody goes. I'm a little worried because there is something to say about an In-N-Out burger in California. California is a cesspool. LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, parts of Oakland, obviously, well, all of Oakland. It's all trash, but In-N-Out burgers in California are another level. They are. We have In-N-Out here in Texas. It's very good. I think it is delicious. But there's something, maybe it's kind of like your first crush or whatever the case may be. First time I had In-N-Out was in LA, and I had never had a burger that delicious before. So it's kind of like romanticizing it. They're still very good here in Texas, but it is interesting in that regard. Let's get you guys. I know I didn't overlay you guys on Friday. Let's get you guys overlaid here. You think they are going to be able to tell if the assign attempt can draw out these losers? Maybe. Whataburger. Whataburger was fine until it was sold to a Chicago company. Now it just doesn't taste the same. I'm serious. It was bought by a Chicago company. Now it just doesn't taste the same, man. I would prefer Sonic over Whataburger. My guys from the radio channel days, I have a specific power ranking of cheeseburgers. And Whataburger is like 5. Whataburger is like 5. Right? Sonic is better than that. I would even put a good. Now this is very much a good Wendy's Burger is up there. Um, there's a couple burger places like non-fast food, like just regular American restaurants that I know of that are really good. If you've ever been to this place in Salado, it's near me called Johnny's Barbecue. They have one of the best burgers ever. Um, I've never been to Dick's Burgers, so I don't know much of that of that company. So, but yeah, Whataburger is like a 5. It's not a lot of hype. I don't really know if it's Oh, Brian's checking in from New Mexico, the land of enchantment. Hello, Brian. I don't know. I'm not a big fan. So Whataburger's all right, but In-N-Out is leaving California, and we're seeing the effects of these companies that are leaving their homes, and there's a bit of culture and a bit of history that you lose when companies move from their original founding. It's more of a sentimental thing I'm thinking of here. Talk about that. And then finally, Superman has a really good hold in its second week, and it may have legs. Now, of course, the Fantastic Four comes out this week. I will have a review for it. Of course, anybody who's been watching the program for 154 episodes, first of all, you might need to get your head checked. And secondly, I will be back in Houston Tuesday and Wednesday for my father-in-law again. So there will be shows Tuesday and Wednesday, but they will be from the wonderful Hampton Inn. the beautiful Hampton Inn in Houston. Hopefully the internet will work this time. But I will get a review for you guys for Fantastic Four either Thursday night or Friday. So I will make sure I get that going up there. Yeah, beef prices are on the rise. They are on the rise. You're right about that. You are. And it's crazy because Texas, the Midwest alone, we should have enough beef that beef prices should never go up. Now, the easy way to get around beef prices, and you can do it here in the state of Texas, you can buy your own cow. Just buy your cow. And then there's ranchers that would love for you to purchase one of their heifers or one of their cows, because that way that pays for it. So we can do that here. And as Brian is saying in the chat, it's actually more economical than all the other things. Now, it's a whole different thing about beef prices, and the fast food industry is no longer economical. It's actually through the roof, and it's no longer what it was. You just look at the price comparisons of a Big Mac meal in 1995 versus now, and people's heads, they fall off their shoulders. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, beef herd at an all-time low. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. It is. It's great. You if you can. I know there's a guy who has a couple cows like 25 minutes away, and every time I drive by his place, he's like, buy your own cow. And I always go, honey, we should do that. And then, ranchers are a it's an American profession. But yes, I don't want to get too far off topic. I've got 3 warm-up stories for you today. And so it's going to be a good show. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, do all the fun things to help the show grow. I appreciate you guys watching as always. And yeah, it's just going to be a good time. I'm a little, I'm worn. I know I had a, don't even ask. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to complain because you guys are awesome and you don't hear me complain. We're here to have a good time. First up, let's get to our first story. Let's get me in the corner here, and let's get you guys back on here. All right. So there's a couple of these. I didn't post this because it happened over the weekend, but there's this guy named Timothy. I don't know him, but they're putting on a huge live stream for Catholics and Christians in the Holy Land. They got a bunch of people that are live streaming, and they're trying to raise donations. Absolutely think it's a great idea. Great use of Catholic Catholic content creators and so forth. Now, Timothy from Rules for Retrogrades, not heard. Laura Horn, Trent Horn's wife, has been diagnosed with brain cancer. And on the day of her surgery, the 23rd, which will be Thursday, no, that'll be Wednesday, Timothy is holding a live stream to help raise funds for her. And it looks like Enoch and Anthony from Avoiding Babylon. I don't know who this person is, but this person's going to be there. Joe Enders is going to be there. Good friend of the show, Joe Enders. Thursday, this is the gentleman that started the other live stream. And Elijah, I think that's Enoch's brother. And a couple other, Walmart Thomas. I highly suggest, if you can, tune in on Thursday to watch the live stream and, support if you can. That's a really, brain cancer is just devastating. It is just a devastating thing. So anybody that can help out, please do so. Please do so, because it is a worthy cause. And huge shout out to Timothy Gordon for doing this and bringing the awareness to it. And same things with Subin Thursday for the Catholics in Gaza stream. This is the stuff that we as Catholics should be doing more often, as we should be using it to advance and raise profiles. So good on him for that. Good. So that's very good. Awesome. All right. Now the next so Fantastic Four is coming out this week. And Fantastic Four has one of the largest there's so many things you can buy, tie-ins and all of these other stuff that's just nuts. This probably has to be the worst tie-in I've ever seen at the movie theater. So if you go see Fantastic Four this weekend, you can buy one of these collector cups. I'll just give you a moment. So I don't know who designed this, but whoever designed this cup that you can buy, I don't know what theater you can buy it at, is a degenerate and a pervert. By the way, it also doesn't help that Pedro Pascal has the rumors that he's a little bit of a hey, so maybe he designed it, but be on guard if you ever do go to the movie theaters that you could potentially buy this. And yeah, whoever, sometimes these people create these things, and you just have to sit back and ask yourself, where's the quality control on this? Who thought this was a good idea, right? It looks like Burt Reynolds. Seems subjective. I just don't understand how these things ever get past the quality control stage without somebody going, that's not a great idea. Let's not do that. Stop this. And then, of course, all the homosexuals in the boardroom are like, nah, we're going to do it. It's going to be great. Gross. You people are gross. And so am I. Anyway, last warm-up story. I thought it was kind of funny because somebody's just saying, what are we doing? You know what, Mark? I don't use straws either. I don't. Only time I'll ever use a straw is if I'm driving. When I get one of my McDonald's meals or something like that. And my wife laughs at me. She laughs at me because I based my entire worldview on straws off of the movie Crazy Stupid Love. When I can't forget, when the two characters are talking and the younger one looks at the older one and he goes, yeah, dude, it looks like you're, I can't repeat the line, but you guys get it, on straws. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I cannot be at a restaurant and use a straw. I just won't. It's very effeminate. Using straws are very effeminate, and men don't drink out of them. It's very simple. Men don't drink out of them, and men don't wear shorts in the summer. That's a huge hot take. A lot of people don't like me on that one. I was at church on Sunday, And this was, I'm at Baylor's a college. I get it. But this dude was in the my wife and I were kind of late, so we had to sneak into the back row. And this dude had like the shortest shorts on, like disturbingly. And I'm going, bro, this isn't a frat house. What are you doing? You couldn't put on a pair of pants. But I don't believe men should wear athletic shorts around the house. Fine. Totally okay with. There's no such thing as designer shorts. Men look stupid in shorts. It's that it really is. It's just not good. We do not look good in shorts. Sorry. I don't think it's very becoming. But I'm hot. You know what? Your ancestors wore tweed suits. You can hang out in like moisture wicking golf pants. It's okay. I mean, that's for me also, being from the Northeast. No matter what I wear here in the summer, when it actually is warm, I'm sweating anyway, so it doesn't matter. Shorts don't help me if I'm dressing up to go out. So I'm not big on straws, and I'm not big on shorts. Men dress shorts. Now, if you wear shorts to the gym, or if you're at your house and you're wearing shorts, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. But like dress shorts, dress khaki shorts, no bueno. Can't go with it. It doesn't work, man. You look stupid. You look like you look like you drink straws. Let me just say that. If you wear dress shorts, it looks like you should be drinking out of a straw. For my yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I exercise, guys. I'm wearing shorts right now. I'm wearing shorts right now. If you're at your house and you're wearing shorts, fine. If you are going out, if you're even like you're working in your garden or whatever stuff, if you're doing something athletic, fine. But like wearing shorts to a restaurant or to the movies or anything else, just no, dude. Nobody wants to. It just doesn't work. They're not sexy. It just doesn't. It's not a great thing. Dress shorts and popped collars. Yeah, no, we're not a frat house. This isn't rush week. So it's just no, thank you. I'm cutting this kid some slack because he was a young kid. He probably doesn't know any better. But I just looked at him like, bro, no, not even long shorts. I think long shorts look even worse. I don't think. Now, this is Mark, my personal opinion. You're free to disagree with it. I hope you do. It makes the show better. Shorts, period, are no bueno. So I got the legs of you and me both, brother. You and me both. I'm like Alf because I'm not tall, so I can't be a Wookiee. So I guess I would look like Alf. So yeah, you just can't do it. But if you're at your house, totally fine. And yes, sometimes when I go to the grocery store and I just go to get groceries real quick, I'll wear shorts. I know. But if I'm dressing up to go somewhere, never wear shorts. Never. What about the I don't know what a JNCO is. I'm not hip. I don't know what that is. So I don't know. But yeah, no shorts, no bueno. Don't do them. Sorry. I know some guys go, I have to wear shorts. I'm so hot. Having your leg not going to make them any cooler. So Barrett, yeah. If I did, I'd turn it into a bagel. Some of you will remember that line. I will never forget that line from Alf. He's looking at the cat. He goes, "You're getting sleepy. You're getting sleepy. You're turning into a bagel." I can't remember some very important things in my life, but I will never forget until I get dementia that stupid line from that show. Oh, JNCOs. Oh, I wasn't cool enough to wear JNCOs or Jinkos. Jinkos. Oh yeah. Shockingly enough, I was kind of a nerd my whole life. So Fred Durst. I listened to Fred Durst. I didn't wear the stuff that Fred Durst wore. Now I wore stupid baggy cargo shorts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I did. Luckily, the internet was not as prolific as it is now. And yes, I did wear some pretty yoinky looking things when I was younger, but not now. All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. I think that's our last warm-up story of the night, the weekend. And for my Texans, look at this. Beto O'Rourke has emerged. Speaking of a guy who drinks out of straws, Beto O'Rourke has emerged from his skateboarding to go and make the rounds. Apparently, I guess he's running. I don't know. Democrats have to be absolutely ruthless about getting back in power. Take a look.
Match fire with fire. I think Democrats in the past too often have been more concerned with being right than being in power. And we've seen Republicans only care about being in power regardless of what is right.
So you support the Newsom?
Yeah. First of all, we all know that's a lie. We all know that's a straight up lie. We all know that's a lie, but that's how Democrats are allowed to frame it. And of course, CNN will not give it any pushback.
Some effort, because California right now has an independent commission that does districts in as fair a way as possible, in nonpartisan way as possible. Yeah, right. You're saying Democrats should, even though you don't approve of it, Democrats should do it too.
We have to get serious. We have to be absolutely ruthless about getting back in power. So yes, in California, in Illinois, in New York, wherever we have the trifecta of power, we have to use that to its absolute extent. And then the last thing, this may end up biting Republicans in the ass. You have the possibility that they will disperse Republican voters to make up these 3 or 4 or 5 new congressional districts and put those districts in play. So in Texas, we've got to get out there and register and meet the voters who are going to decide the outcomes in these next elections, if they're successful with this redistricting. Our group, Powered by People, is doing this right now on the ground. We can't wait for 2026. We got to do the work right now in 2025.
So this guy, Beto, he's talking about there's a big thing going on right now in Texas. We're doing our redistricting. And of course, the Texas House is absolutely, screwing the pooch. Sorry for the language on this one. And who knows how it's going to look redistrict wise. It should be like I said, I can't speak tonight. It should be a slam dunk for Republicans. We should gerrymander this sucker. Just if you see Rhode Island, it's been in power of the Democrats for 80 years. You should see the districts the way they look in that state. Republicans should do the exact same thing here. Yeah, he is. But this is the mindset of a desperate party. So along with the violence that they're perpetrating out there, along with the violence that they're pushing out there, they're also going to try and be as absolutely more slimy. Before they were slimy, but they were always like, our democracy, protect our democracy, blah, blah, blah. Now it's just straight up, do what we got to do. Do what we got to do. And of course, the Republicans are going to sit back and let them do pretty much whatever they want. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Our first of the night. We talked about it. We kind of, went back and forth on it, in the opening before we got to our warm-ups. The Epstein fiasco, let's call it, has been absolute foobar, snafu, whatever you want to call it for Republicans, for the Trump administration, all because of Bunny Bondi. And Trump doubled down. He's not getting rid of her because apparently she's a blonde and, Trump can't get her a woman. If it was a guy, he would have fired him like 20 minutes in. But he's like, Bondi, I think you're good looking, so you're going to stay. That's what's going to happen. Women failing upwards. But the things they are doing now, the Republican, the administration, they're talking about like, we're going after Comey, we're going after this, we're doing all this, we're flooding the zone. The sanctuary cities, Tom Holman's out there running around talking about we're flooding the zone in the sanctuary cities, we're doing all this stuff. You got Trump over the weekend talking about we're going to change the name of I'm going to hold the funding of the Washington football stadium until they change it from Commanders to Redskins, and let's change the name of the Guardians back to the Indians, which I actually don't think. I think the Cleveland Guardians is actually not a bad name. The Washington Commanders is stupid. But if like the Florida Seminoles can be them, if the Atlanta Braves can exist, if some of these can, then all of them can, right? If some of them can, all of them can. But now, today, we'll release FBI records on MLK. on the assassination of MLK. Here we go. Even though the family of MLK is like, don't do that, please. they're like, do it anyway. They need to get off of Epstein. And they can't, because they have Streisand effect Epstein to such a degree. That's all people want. That's it. Because it's becoming, why aren't you releasing it? Now, they tried to get around this Friday, and Trump was like, we're gonna petition for the grand jury testimony. Pam Bondi like, I'm gonna do it. And then Saturday they did it. And now we wait to see if the court will approve it, which is the big thing, the court, if it even approves it. But this whole thing, this thing just like changes stuff all the time, is because they fumbled the ball on the Epstein list. It was an unforced error, and now they cannot get away from it, no matter what they do. And I'm telling you, I wish Michael was here, because the thing that's going to happen, it's going to have to be some kind of war in the fall. It's going to have to be. It's the only thing that can get people's attention off the Epstein list. And it does go to the fact that people in the administration actually believed what the Democrats were saying, that the MAGA movement is a cult, that it's some kind of, whatever Trump says, we listen to, MAGA, we're a bunch of MAGA zombies. And that is not the case, because Trump has come out several times telling people to shut up, get over it, and move on. And yet they're still throwing stuff at the wall, trying to get anything and everything to catch some kind of momentum to get off of the Epstein story. And this is the latest one today. Trump administration releases FBI records on MLK Jr.'s assassination. So the director of national intelligence, intelligence bunny Tulsi Gabbard, on Monday announced the release of 230,000 files related to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Today, after nearly 60 years of questions surrounding the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we are releasing 230,000 MLK assassination files, available now at blah, blah, blah. Gabbard wrote on X. The documents include details about the FBI's investigation into the assassination of MLK, discussion of potential leads, internal memos, information about James Earl Ray's former cellmate, blah, blah, blah. Whatever they can do. Of course, that's also not going to be a great thing, because a lot of people don't know that MLK was a womanizer. That MLK actually didn't write his speeches. There's a lot of stuff. The hagiography of Martin Luther King Jr. is way different, which is most people, is way different than the historical fact. All of our people that are revered in history here in these United States, they're all people, and they all had good things and bad things about them. And of course, the black community is like, whoa, don't do that. don't do that. Don't release any of this stuff on MLK, because there was a lot of things that people don't know outside. And I actually used to tell my students when I was teaching, like, listen, MLK he did some great things, but also he was a womanizer. Also, he was kind of a little bit of a drinker. He was all of these other things. And it really does chip away at what happened, or his eventual death and sainthood, And so it's very interesting to learn. For somebody like me who I have a history degree, that doesn't mean anything. I'm a dude, which means most guys are just historians. There's a lot of stuff that you would need to know about it. And really, yes, Tulsi Gabbard's fine. I don't really care. She's the director, she's DNI, whatever. She seems to be at least competent in her role, which I have to say is a pretty big deal because Dan Bongino hasn't quit yet. Dan Bongino and Kash Patel have proven to be completely inept because they've been neutered by Epstein thing. Pam Bondi's been neutered by this Epstein thing. RFK is just kind of sitting there. I gotta get these guys out of the food, but he's also approving vaccines. Tulsi, the DNI position, is pretty easy. And this is like, all right, we'll release some files. We'll release these 230,000 documents. Go ahead and do it. And look through them. Now, will anything come of this? Yeah, you might get a couple of stories here and there, but nobody in the conservative space is going to do a deep dive like they did after the JFK. Remember when the JFK files were dropped and you had like Benny Johnson, you had all these people doing like deep dives and they were going through, this is the stuff we've learned about Nick Sodor in between kissing Trump's butt. It was like, oh my gosh, did you see this? Did you read this? Blah, 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 blah. Nobody's going to pay much attention to this. Oh yeah, Lou, in Memphis, he is 100% a saint. I mean, he's a saint in every city. And, he's used by both sides of the aisle like every historical figure. Everybody ignores his weaknesses and everybody embraces his talking points, depending on what they're trying to push. So, is this a big deal? Not really. Is it anything that one thing will be certain. This will not change the conversation around Epstein. It won't. People are still talking about it. Every time Pam Bondi tweets something, everybody goes, where's the Epstein files? Every time she goes on Fox News, where are the Epstein files? Every time Dan Bongino comes out in the tightest shirt possible, where's the Epstein files, bro? Every time Cash shows up, where's the Epstein files, bro? Where is this stuff? And this is a nice attempt to try and change the field. But I think Lou said it earlier in the show. It's all distraction. And it's a poor attempt at a distraction. But it is a distraction nevertheless. So I don't think anything big is going to come out of the the MLK files. The only thing that everybody can agree on is this is another desperation move by the administration to try and change the subject. Yeah, you have St. George Floyd as well. Yeah, of course, Lou brings up a point that the family is like, can we just make sure we look at this stuff in a historical context? Because they're potentially going to lose tons of money too. People visiting his home and all these other kinds of stuff and books that are written about him and movies that are written, blah, 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 all these kinds of things. Because that's really what it is when somebody's dead, whether it's Johnny Cash, MLK, JFK, any historical figure. It's always the family, Elvis. They're always the family that's in control of the estate. And I'm sorry to make this the most I hate to be the materialistic weasel of the internet, but it's all about how can we preserve his legacy in the most positive light possible so people can continue to write books. They need permission to write books or do movies or come to his home and look at his stuff and buy shirts and all of, how are they going to continue to milk this asset? Because that's what that person becomes in the end. Now they could love him to death and he's still a financial asset. The two aren't separate, but it is in the end that bit of information. All right. RickCast, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, ladies and gentlemen. Help the show right now. Very happy to have everybody here on this wonderful Monday, the 21st of July 2025. Yeah, Johnny Cash. Right? Anytime you go to the Johnny Cash Museum, anytime you buy a Johnny Cash shirt, you purchase one of his albums, which I have many of them. That goes to the estate of Johnny Cash, and they make money off of it. Right? It's not a shock. I'm not breaking any news here with that. But the fact is, that's a lot of people. It's it's their cash. I don't want to say cow, but it's a source of income for them, and so forth. All right, next story. Speaking of Tennessee, speaking of Memphis, and all those types of things, let's get to our next story of the night. In-N-Out president to move out of California, as chain explains, it's not easy here. Listen for yourself.
And we're building an office in Franklin, so I'm actually moving out there. And
wow, how do you feel about that? You're like a California girl through, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really loved living in Northern California, and I'm so thankful that I grew up there because I think it changed a lot of who I am today. I think I would be different if I was raised in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
But there, like you said, there's a lot of great things about California, but raising a family is not easy here. Doing business is not easy here. Now, the bulk of our stores are still going to be here in California, but it will be wonderful having an office out there, growing out there.
Totally.
And being able to have the family and other people's families out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that, it's two-part. We'll have everybody under one roof here in Baldwin Park, and we'll close our fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big transition. And that's happening in the next few years, right?
Yeah, we've kind of, given it a longer runway so that it's smoother for everybody so they can plan and all of that. And we gave them a lot of notice, because we love them and want to make it as easy as possible. But by 2030, we'll close their fine.
Now, I see, Lou, as soon as you see somebody from California, the In-N-Out people are actually pretty based. They seem to be very as conservative as a California can be. I don't think they're going to go to Tennessee and vote for liberals. I don't think so. They're very pro-police. They're very pro-firefighter. They have Bible verses on the bottom of their cups. I don't know how much that goes for you. But I don't think I wouldn't be upset if In-N-Out Burger moved here, because I think that's a company that actually has some pretty decent value. In-N-Out Burger actually pays their employees very well. They're like Buc-ee's. People at In-N-Out, they don't mind working there because they actually get compensated for their time, which is shocking. I know, in this day and age. But they'll save a bunch of money in taxes. The fact that the writing has been on the wall for In-N-Out for a while, just because they've been shutting down stores in parts of California that they're going, it's just not safe for our employees to be there. And it's just going to be very interesting as more companies. I think somebody mentioned it. She's a California girl. She's going to have tats. It's unfortunate. Most modern women, Lou, have some kind of tat on them. Despite the fact that men are like, please don't put tattoos on you. Women are just like, what? And they do it anyway. So most modern women have some kind of tattoo. And I don't think there's a nose ring. Let's see. I don't see a nose ring. I don't see the septum ring. I don't see that. So now there's at least that. But the fact of the matter is, let's see. It's still a family business. She is still running the business that her family started. And it says a lot of things. You heard about all that. Company since 2010. However, even though the bulk of their locations in California, they're just going to get out of there. They were 1941. The company plans to close its Irvine headquarters by 2030. My uncle opened the office in Irving in the 90s. When my dad came to town, we moved to Northern California. Yada, yada, yada. Texas warehouse. We're not putting our meat facility where we do all our beef, yada yada yada. Great. Okay. So can I get post millennial? Can you? But the fact is, it's another piece of the history of that is gone because of these that were put in place by the government there, and they don't care. They don't care about losing that money because they'll just import something else and do all these other kinds of things. But it is interesting to see, companies that are not in line with the liberal agenda. And let's be real, In-N-Out Burger is it's a pretty big chain, but it's not McDonald's or Burger King or like Wendy's or Arby's or any of these. It's still pretty tiny when you actually look at the locations. Let's actually see. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that here. And nope, that's not it. Nope. See if that works. Probably not. Of course, my internet's not going to run as far as I need it to because it stinks. There we go. InAndOut.com. Let's see if you can go there. Locations. Where are we going here, buddy? I'm actually trying to do this live, so the sooner you can do that, the better. They're mostly West Coast, Southern. I think the farthest east they are is Texas. I guess they're going to start being in Tennessee. It's interesting how people keep picking Tennessee as like the place to go. And unfortunately, that's not great for like a lot of for Tennesseans like Lou, who's going, please don't come here. It's kind of like Texas when we hear, yeah, this thing's not going to load, so I don't care. Yeah, In-N-Out Burger is pretty good. MDD229. They are really good. I like them. I will be completely upfront. The fries are not great. They're okay. They're kind of soggy. They're not deep fried. They're kind of they're not over processed. They cut the potatoes and they put them in a fryer. So the cool thing about In-N-Out is they have their secret menu. They also do things like animal style. If you're on keto or carnivore, it's like the only place you can go get food because you can get a lot of their stuff without the bun. So it's pretty decent food. I like it. Right? Why didn't they pick Vegas? There's a bunch of In-N-Outs in Vegas. I guess they just wanted more of a even though Vegas has a Republican governor, it's still not very conservative in that amount. So it's very interesting that, first of all, this lady's on a conservative podcast. Whatever you think of Allie Beth Stuckey, it's a conservative podcast to be on. See, I don't mind the fries because they're not as processed as like McDonald's or Burger King or anything like that. Like I said, the fries aren't great, but the burgers more than make up for the fries. They absolutely do. They're so good. I think the burgers are really, really good. If you ever do have the chance to try an In-N-Out burger, try it because it's pretty decent as far as the burgers go and everything like that. So I guess the CEO, they're looking for a more conservative place to land. Because it's interesting they picked Tennessee because that's across the entire country. There are red states in between there. I know Oklahoma would have loved to get their business, or Nebraska or somebody else like that. Wiener Schnitzel. The only place I've ever seen a Wiener Schnitzel is in El Paso. Ironically enough. My wife actually used to go to Wiener Schnitzel all the time because it was right across the street from her high school. So, but I still haven't eaten Wiener Schnitzel to this day. So I'm guessing GPAT Wiener Schnitzel is something pretty decent. Toyota Corporation pulled out of California after Japanese. Yeah. Well, California Toyota's here in Texas. The Tundra used to be built here in now is it the Tundra? Yeah, it's the Tundra. Most of it's built in Mexico now. And then the parts and everything, they ship them from Japan into Mexico, and then they like assemble them in Texas. That's how they kind of get away with the American made thing. But it's just very interesting to see more conservative, it's interesting to see conservative businesses kind of huddling around the state of Tennessee, right? Maybe because the Daily Wire went there. I know Jason Whitlock's out there. I think Outkick that is out there. It's a lot of, more right-leaning plays. Now, Nashville is not really great. I don't know if Lou can speak for me, but Nashville, I feel, is a little hyped. It's a little overhyped for what it is, but I guess they're trying to turn that into their conservative mecca. So the detainer dog is a great meal after a few beers. Rhode Island does have a place called Spike's Junkyard Dogs. Talk about a 2 a.m. feast. If that's what you're talking about, G-Pat. There was a place called Spike's Junkyard Dogs in the Northeast, in Rhode Island. And there's nothing like a Spike's Junkyard Dog at like 1 a.m. That was a great place to go after going out, which I would never know about, obviously, because I never did those types of things. But yes, just interesting. It's a slow news day, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm kind of saying about that. Oh, you're getting a Buc-ee's in West Tennessee. Yes, the Buc-ee's empire will take over all, and you will experience. Watch out, Lou. Once you get your first taste of Buc-ee's, it's over. You will never look at another gas station the same. Now, there are some people that hate on Buc-ee's because they obviously don't have any kind of taste. But true G's know that Buc-ee's is where it at. So I'm happy that you are getting one. Blimpies probably went out of business. I've never had Blimpies either. I saw it. Wasn't that like a sandwich place? Blimpies was kind of like a sandwich place. I don't really know much. I used to see commercials for it, but I don't really see anything else. Nash Vegas. Yeah. Memphis is Memphis. That's all I'll say. I have nothing but negative feelings towards the city of Memphis. It was a tough summer for my wife and I when she worked there. Just because of the working conditions she was under there. So she interned at Nike up there. Yeah. All right. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen, to the next story, the final story of the night. You know, it was great. I can't even remember the name of the place. Not Shenanigans. That's from Super Troopers. What was the place of what was the Irish restaurant that was like a TGI Fridays? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's like a Shenanigans or something like that, or Shane something. Let me see, like that. Irish restaurant that went out. Somebody's gonna, help me on that one, right? Somebody knows what I'm talking about. Here, Bennigan's was amazing. I don't care what you say. I loved Bennigan's. Bennigan's was delicious. I thought Bennigan's did not deserve the fate that it suffered. R.I.P. Bennigan's. Butters' favorite. Hey, Butters has good taste in some things. Bennigan's, can we go to Bennigan's? Shenanigans too. Alrighty. Yes, per Matt. Bennigan's, you are correct. You got it. I had to look it up, but you got it. It's Bennigan's. I liked Bennigan's, man. Bennigan's was a decent restaurant. I liked it a lot. It was better than Applebee's and Chili's and all those places. So, there you go. Last story of the night, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do a little movie talk. We talked on Friday that Superman had a hold between, it was looking at somewhere between, where was it? 55 to 58 million. And I said, listen, anything that comes in under 55% is a great hold for Superman. And it's indicative that the movie will have legs, that will do very well, even when Fantastic Four is released. So The key takeaway, the 3-day total gross. Now, Superman did 57 million, almost 58. Some people are saying 58, which is a great hold because the Steel movie in like 2013, that thing dropped like 61-62%. So that is an excellent hold. It's up to 406 global box office. And now people are starting to say, does it have the legs to get to 700 million? I think it does. I honestly think that they'll keep it in theaters to get it to that 700 million. It's probably going to break 600 by the middle of August, but we'll see how it looks. The word of mouth is really great. What is it? Cinema score. I think it's like come on, man. It's what I wanted right there. It's got an A-, which isn't bad. You want an A or an A+, but still an A- should be indicative of some pretty decent holds and some pretty decent legs on it. So we'll see how that goes. It's got the best hole here. Now, key takeaway from the performance, it represents the lowest percentage drop and highest gross for a second frame of a modern day Superman movie and superhero movies in general. Most superhero movies drop 60% minimum in their second week. So the fact that this movie is sitting at 54%, like Batman versus Superman did 69% drop, Man of Steel was 65. Superman Returns was 58, so that was all right. The only problem with Superman getting to 700 million is overseas, ironically enough. Superman did, less than 50% hold overseas, which is amazing. Still, it's just not taking off. See the pun there? That Gunn and the WB had hoped for. There are some reasons here that most general audiences outside of the US, a little bit of superhero fatigue on that. Also, there are the rumors that even though there's not any real mention of America, Truth, Justice, and the American Way and all that stuff here, Superman is still associated with America, and the fact that Donald Trump's in office or the tariffs or whatever you want to call it, people are not happy with it right now, and they may be taking it out on the Superman film. However, it's still chugging along. The best thing Superman Returns, worldwide take of 391. There's no question the movie can push past the $500 million, but where it goes from there is kind of where nobody really has an idea where it's going to go at this point, but 235 here, 406 total. If it can get to 650, that is a huge win because the marketing budget, the budget was 225, marketing budget's at least 103, 25, 330 total. And whatever the final total is, 650, 700, 710, WB is going to get about half of that. After everybody else takes their, the theaters take their half, the international base takes their half. So if that's why the 700 million mark is everybody's kind of aiming at. They're really hoping that it can push to that area. Because if it gets to 700, then that's a break even, maybe even a little bit of money. And that's good news going forward for James Gunn's Superman universe. So I'm very happy with it. It is, I said anything 55% or lower is a win. They got that. So good for them. Still a decent movie. I know a lot of people didn't like it. If you go see it, there's nothing offensive. I think there's one GD in it, which is offensive, obviously. The broken, the golden arrow prayer in reparations for it. But it's a good movie for kids. It's bright. It's colorful. It's not too bad. And yes, Superman does symbolize a patriarchy, even though they did their best to not symbolize it in the, James Gunn, Catholic, by the way, for my Catholic brothers and sisters, pray for him to come back to the church. Born Catholic, went to Catholic school. I know that means nothing, but he has a Catholic upbringing. Pray for him to come back to the church. And so we'll see how that goes as far as that hold. Jurassic World Rebirth, 42% hold, which is not bad. It's topped out at about, what are we looking at? I think it's 675 worldwide, 647 worldwide. Nobody knows the budget on this thing. They said it was 180. If you put, so this movie has made its money back, or it's close to making its money back. It's probably going to end at that eight, it's only what 150 million away from getting to that 800 mark, which would be right in line with the way these other Jurassic Worlds have been tracking. Jurassic World to Jurassic Fallen Kingdom was a $300 million drop. From Fallen Kingdom to Dominion was a $300 million drop in its totals. And then from Dominion to this would be another $300 million drop. And that would be 800 million. So everybody's kind of looking to see, will it make it? Maybe, who knows? Possibly, but it's still holding well. What's the cinema score on Jurassic? Do we have that one? We don't even have a cinema score on Jurassic. That's crazy. Right. Oh no, here it is. It got a B. So the fact that it's at 647 with a B cinema score is actually pretty impressive. It's actually very impressive. All right. I know what you did last summer. I think the what was the bet on that one? Let's go back. I have to look. I think it was like between 11 and 13 or something like that. Let's see. I know they wanted between 12 to 18. So it came in on the low side. I know what you did last summer, came in at 13 million, which was right within the projection range. The budget for this movie was 18 million. I heard to know how long the legs will be on this for this film, but it's a slasher of the summer. Sometimes they do well, most of the times they don't. A lot of reasons they drop horror movies in the summer beforehand is they drop them, they do their run, and then they drop in time for Halloween season. They'll drop the end of September into October, and people will buy it then. It will definitely have a second life on video on demand. And I'm sure it's a Sony movie, so they already sold it to Netflix, so it's already made its money back. Because Sony doesn't do streaming services. Sony doesn't have a streaming service. Sony sells all of its movies. Netflix buys all of Sony's movies, and they stream them on Netflix. So Sony makes its money. They were a lot smarter than the other streaming services because Netflix just gives them money and they're like, all right, you can have our film. So they probably already made their money back on that film. Smurfs, if you didn't know there was a Smurfs movie coming out, you and pretty much everybody are the same way. It's apparently a musical and it's apparently awful. So expect it to drop out of theaters pretty quickly. F1, the movie, continues to do well. It's the only movie I would strongly recommend anybody go see. I thought it was fantastic. It's my favorite film that I've seen this year. That's not a high bar, but still. It's sitting at 468 globally. It can probably push to 500. It really just depends if Apple wants to keep that movie in theaters, because Apple made that film and Warner Brothers, because Apple doesn't have a distribution service. So Warner Brothers took care of that. So it's really up to Warner Brothers and Apple figuring out who's going to, how long do you want to keep it there? Because it's still doing pretty decent holds if you look at it. What was this weekend? 26%. So it still made 9 million. It almost made as much as Smurfs did. F1 almost made as much money in however many weeks it's been out. I think how long when did this movie get released? In June, the end of June. It got released in the end of June 27th. It's been almost a month, and it's still making the same amount of money as the Smurfs did in its opening weekend. So Warner Brothers and all these people would be stupid to pull that film. They'll probably leave it until the end of the summer. It'll probably cross 500 million, and that'd be a great win for them. How to Train Your Dragon, still sitting at 250 domestically. I think it's sitting at somewhere like 580 globally. It's pretty expected. This movie, Eddington, it's an A24 film. It's about, ironically enough, Brian just left, but it's about like COVID set in a small town in New Mexico. It's weird and artistic, farty and whatever. And then you round out your top 5. The big news here, Lilo and Stitch is the first and only movie so far to hit the $1 billion mark. So Lilo and Stitch finally crossed. It's the first and only movie so far. 1 billion. Let's just round it up. 8 million. So, Disney got their $1 billion film. They just had to keep it there and let that thing, they'll let it leg out to see how much it can make. So not too bad overall for the box office. Pretty decent this weekend. So big deal, and we'll talk about this on Friday, will be Fantastic Four. No, and the crazy thing is Fantastic Four starting to do their long-term, their forecast. And they're thinking it's going to do somewhere between 100 million to 125 million. I think this movie struggles to get to 100 million. I think the reviews will kill it. I don't think there's a lot of momentum for it. I think watch this number get revised as the week goes. I think this movie will definitely get revised to somewhere between 85 to 100 million. I don't think it does 100 million its opening weekend. I don't. But we'll see about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode of RickCast. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I will be back with you tomorrow from the magical city of Houston. Magical. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow night from Houston. Don't miss it. I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. God bless. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.